Hey everyone, this is Anna here, and in this video we're going to talk about stamps, how to make your own stamps with your own design in mind. This will be a prequel to the previous video that I have already showing how to actually make like leaves and other designs into how to press into the clay and creating your stamps. But this one, I'm actually going to show you how I create those pieces that are going to become your stamp. And also, I'm going to give you so many more ideas on other materials that you can use, like a rubber pad to create a whole slab. If you're a hand builder, you can create a slab that's going to become your piece. Something like this that I created years ago. And this is just a tea keeper jar. And I did use a slab that I'm going to show you. And let's not waste any more time. And I'm going to zoom in and show you this whole process. So here I'm going to show you how I make, in my case would be leaves, but you can make any design you want or that you use on your work. These are already the stamps that I was showing on the previous video, but I had a request for one of my subscribers to show how I make the actual pieces that are going to become the stamps. And first of all, I would like to thank all my supporters for the Buy Me Coffee. I really appreciate that. All the money that goes, into that Buy Me Coffee is for pottery related. I just bought a new mic that hopefully the sound is good for you guys to hear. It's clear, and all the supplies. So it goes into that. So I really, really appreciate that for my supporters. And since I was going to use stamps, and I thought, why not just make a video on how I make the stamps? And it's not always that I get requests that I can do it right away, a video. I try to fit in. I have a list of things that requests that I receive for videos, that I keep it on a list. And whenever I'm working on something, I try to fit that in. So anyways, I appreciate all your support. So I'm going to put the links of everything that I use in this video into the description of the video. So I'm going to be talking about a lot about different tools that I use and materials. So everything will be listed. So um, hopefully I won't forget anything. So anyways, back to the stamps. This is just, you can do it with any clay. I believe the ones that I did before, I used porcelain. I use scrap pieces of, when I'm trimming something, any clay, I keep it on a bag and then I use it. You can use it to make handles, little sculptures. In this case, I'm using for stamps. It's a good way to reclaim your clay. So I just picked a piece of, this is stoneware, and I believe this one is the dark star that I like, is a speckled clay, light color clay. You can use anything. So I just use a piece and use my little roller. So last time I did a demo for the stamps, I forgot to cover them afterwards, and some of them cracked. Not all of them, because it dried real fast. Let me just show you here real quick. See that one? So, and that was from the demo. I can still use this one. This one cracked. I might still be able to use that. I'm going to fire it anyways. But remember to cover when you create your stamps like that. Just cover and let it dry slowly. I left it out as soon as I made it. I forgot to cover all of them. And amazingly enough, not all of them cracked. So some of them, most of them didn't crack actually. So but just a reminder to cover your stamps after you make them. So back to my, I'm going to make my Monstera leaf, for example. It's one of my favorites that I add a lot into my work. And I'll show you how I just make one. because I have made so many in the past, I know the shape, and I can just visualize and just design it. Um, and it's just, the more you do it, it comes like it's second nature, right? It just happens. Now, if you need something else, you can trace something out of a magazine, or you can print a drawing. Um, these are, I just wanted to show you what I found at the Dollar Tree here local to me where I live. I'm pretty sure they might carry that on every Dollar Tree store. But these are like little appliques that are made out of paper and plastic. And I thought, what a good way to use them for outlining a leaf like this on your clay. You can just press it and outline and cut it out. And that will become, what's going to be your stamp. And these are all kind of like tropical leaves, caladiums. And I think it came on a whole pack. Can't remember if I don't think they're individually. I think it's a set of leaves. Look at this one, like some beautiful caladiums, some other tropical leaves. And I got one that has birds, and I'll show you. But it not only is good for outlining something, but it also gives you an idea of how you can paint it if you were going to paint them. Look at this one with the pinks and variegated, the caladium. And hummingbird, you can create an outline like this, and that will become what you're going to press into your clay to become your stamp. Look at this, macaw. So the way they come, I don't know what they are for, but it comes like this with two. I think it's one of those shadow things that has, the design, and then it creates a shadow on the back. But I took them apart, and you can actually use for an outline and as a reference for the colors that I used for this macaw in this instance. This one has a little bit of glitter on the plastic, so I wouldn't use this one, but aren't they cute? The two little lovebirds. And this was the hummingbird that came. So it comes with this plastic, just an idea. You can also trace, like I said, you can just do different ways. You can even get like a little leaf. I just cut it for my plant, something like that, and you can roll into your slab to make an outline. And that actually is going to give you the location for the veins of the leaf. Try to grab it. So that gave me a reference where the veins are, and then I'll just use my X-Acto knife. And I try to make it a little thicker than usual because you are going to use this to press into the clay to become your stamp, right? So if you make it too thin, it will be kind of fragile. So this is a good example on this one here. Actually, I should have carved the veins before I removed it from here, but that's okay. I'm gonna smooth out the edges so that it's somewhat rounded on the edges already. So when you press this to make your stamp, you already have the rounded edges, right? So just remember, this is the actual piece that is gonna come out of your stamp. So you have to make it how you want it. And then you're going to bisque fire and then press everything into clay. And then whatever you press, that becomes your stamp, and you're also going to have to bisque fire that. But once you have that, this process is a long process, but then it's done. It will be much quicker to make many leaves if you're working on a piece that requires all different types of leaves or many leaves, right? You can make these real quick. If I am just adding, let's say, 1 or 2 leaves, sometimes I just cut it. It's just as easy for me to just cut something and use that as an applique. But I'll show you an example here soon where I had a vine with all these little leaves, and that was so much quicker using this method here. So for the veins, you can use anything that comes to a point. I have these are great diamond core tools, anything that was the pointy ones for carving, like this one is real small, but you can also use, this one is a Dolan tool. It's that little wire tool. You can use that too. That has a real small area here. You can cut, you can make your veins using that. So as you can see here, I already have the middle of the vein on this one. So that gave me a nice reference. I'm just cutting this piece. But I can make it so it's more pronounced, more indented. This one is a great tool also that I use quite a bit. It's a Fimo or Sculpey, I guess that's what it is, clay, Sculpey clay tools. It comes as a set and it has this kind of rounded edges. It comes to a point, and the way I use this one is I press it into the clay and it's already on an angle. So I press it and it kind of makes the clay have the rounded edge. So rather than carving it, I'm just pushing that in, as you can see right there. So I'm not removing the clay. As you saw, I didn't remove any clay. All I did is I pushed in the clay. Now this is a little too wet for carving. You would wait until this is a little drier to carve, but just for the purpose of this demo here, you see, I'm just carving out the veins. It's actually working pretty well. I like to carve when it's leather hard, but it's actually working. And then when you press this into to make your stamps, this is going to show up on the stamp, and it just works there. So I'm gonna save this because I am gonna be using this one as well. So here's one of them. For the Monstera, like I said, you can use anything, right, to make the outline. I am just going to pencil it in, and you see here how it writes really well. So as you know, the Monstera leaf is like a heart shape. Actually, you know what? I needed a smaller Monstera, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And you see, because the clay is really soft now, it's making more like a indent mark on this one. But I'll show you in a little bit how it works on leather hard stuff. It is great. So that's the middle. And then, so it's a heart shape, and then you have all those cutouts on the leaves. Yeah, so I don't think anything would actually be a good tool to write on this soft of clay, but I will show you in a little bit how it works on leather hard. So yeah, I'll do the little holes later. I'm just gonna go ahead and actually, yeah, I'm gonna use this one to press to make that middle. You see how this one I just pressed in? And then to make the veins, It's easier to do it now before I remove the leaf from here. Again, not the ideal timing to do this. I would just cut it and let it dry a little bit before you make your markings, but for the purpose of this demo, I'm doing it now. I'm actually gonna cut this deeper here. And then I'm just gonna cut it straight before I make my cutouts of the leaves, of the, I don't know what you call it. I made it pretty thick. You round the edges a little bit. Another thing that I like too about making my own stamps is once you pick up your piece from your stamp, you can also manipulate it so that you can make this one folded a little bit on one side. You can make the end of it make, you know, kind of curve that way or this way. You can manipulate clay, and I love it because of that. I don't hand build as much because I think I am more efficient on the wheel. But I do like hand building occasionally. As you know, I like doing my little sculptures of birds and little critters. I am just smoothing out the hole with this, which is wood. So, but if you did that when it's a little drier, the clay, you wouldn't have this problem here where the clay is still kind of sticky, making a better hole here on the leaf. Just try to be as clean as possible because remember, this is gonna be your stamp. It's going to look as good as what you have it here. So, and I'm gonna wait until this dries a little bit more and smooth out the edges just a little. And then you let it dry, bisque fire, and then press this into your clay. Okay, so that's the Monstera leaf. I am gonna show you how I made the little feet of my frogs because I like them to be as close as possible to what a frog's feet and hands look like because I can sculpt the frog because I've done so many now. It comes easy to me. It just takes a little practice. Or you could even use a mold for a frog. I don't because I do manipulate my frogs and they're all in different positions and stuff. But it takes me a long time to make their feet with the little bulbs, you know, that they have at the end. So it's suction cups or whatever they call it. So that's why I decided to make the little feet, and I'll show you what it looks like. So this one has not been, has that been fired yet? No, I haven't fired this yet. So I hope I don't break it by using but I'll show you. I just wanted to show you what it looks like. So you make as if I was using my stamp. Pretend that this is already bisque fired, but it's not. You make the shape close to what's going to be, like this is his foot, right? So I could try to make it close as possible to the actual shape just to press it in there so you don't have a whole lot of extra clay. And then you just press it like you would with any other stamp. Just press your clay. So I'm not using anything, and you see how it comes right out. Does the same thing when it's bisque fired. So just press, and then, so it's so small, but I hope I can capture here and put a little water to smooth it out a little. So you see how it has the little suction cups at the ends of each toe. So I would just cut the excess here. So I did use more than what I needed. That's what I'm saying. I think the key is to use less clay so you don't have this excess of clay to cut off. But so what I would do now is once I make the coils for the arms and the legs, then I would press this into my piece. So that is the feet, and I would go like this, right on the clay. You can just trim it right as you're pressing this into the clay. Just, and then attach your coil that's gonna be, on this case, will be his leg. You would attach it right there. So attach your coil, and then you can even turn this a little bit up so it meets with your, you know, if this is the coil, let's say if this is the leg of your frog. You can just attach it right there. You can slip and score, but just for this purpose here, blend it in, and you would never know that this was a separate piece. So this is already pressed into your piece, so the foot's already there. Then all you need to attach is the leg, which is usually like that. You can have it where you can bend, you can cut in between so they're a little bit separated. Like that. So cut these squares rounded like that. So anyways, this takes me a long time to do just by hand because each toe I used to do is a little coil. So showing you how I get it done. It's so small that I hope you guys can see here what I'm doing. And that's why it's so time consuming, right? The smaller the things are that you're sculpting, the harder it is. If you're making a bigger bird or frog, I don't think it would be as hard. But for something like this, each toe is individually sculpted. So the way I do it, I fold the end of the coil to make that little suction cup right there at the end, like that. So that's one. I know it is, that's why I'm saying it is, for me, it's worth creating the stamp just because it is so time consuming. That's the other one. And I try to make it the way it goes is one is much longer than, you know, look at a picture of a frog. Like what I do is I look at a picture. I like to do the tropical frogs. So that also depends on what frog you like to make. I like the tropical frogs, like the red-eye tree frog. So I make them with the little suction cups. And I look at a picture, like a close-up picture, to make sure I am making them correctly. Oh, this one is shorter. and the one that goes on the outer part is short, and then the one that goes here is real short. So then one of these pieces, since that's going to become my stamp, so here's the other one, is real short, and then I have another real short piece here that's going to be his other little toe. It's almost like a real tiny one, like that. Can hardly see that one. Sometimes on when I sculpt them, because the body is covering, you don't even see this other toe here. But I'll show you. Let's see. So I believe I have put links to these tools here that I use. They're fondant making tools. They're great for sculpting. I also use my rubber tip tools to just push the clay and manipulate it. So I'm gonna use this one for now. I don't know where my other, here's the other one that I use also. I'm going to push the clay like this to make it so that they're webbed, right? They're kind of webbed toes. So I'm pushing it with this, and then I'm cutting them. So right now I'm just sculpting the feet so that you know how I made it, how I made the stamp. So now I'm going to take it out of there. And then you can make it so it's a little bit skinnier. So as you notice, like here are the little balls of clay that I have at the ends. By doing just folding the piece, I created those little suction cups. Now, because I want to have the right and the left, I'm going to put just little balls of clay on each one at the other side as well. That way, in order for you to make your stamp, you can push that into the clay when it's dry or when it's after it's bisque fired. You can push it this way, and then you flip the other way and you push it in this way. So now you have the right and the left. So like that. So here is the hand. I did the same way as I've done the foot. So that's the hand. On the other side, same thing. So I will wait until this dries, and that will become the little hands and foot of my little frog. And I made it now different sizes, so this one is bigger, than this one. So for a larger frog and for a smaller frog, So I'm gonna keep this one so I can use it later for my stamps. So here is a mug that I used. Let me see, which stamp did I use? This one here. I use these two leaves here. You can see the two on the edge here to make the vine. So I used the coil. I just placed the coil here to make this vine and then I added the leaves. And I was pressing the leaves and making it like fast. compared to, if I was making each one and attaching, cutting it out. I know it's a simple design of a leaf, but using the stamp, it does go much quicker. Then I did the same thing here, and I added the berries on the same vine. So I have one on each side, and then the toucan with a berry on his mouth. And this is just some clay to show like this trunk of a tree that he's perched on. And that was just hand sculpted, the toucan. I looked at a picture, I designed the outline, and then made it so that it's hollow inside, just like I showed on my other video how I make the hollow birds. But that's all there is. And then I did the relief carving, which I have also shown you guys how to do it. First of all, before anything, I made my design, carved it, did the relief carving, as you can see here, some other leaves I carved. Also on the back, I carved little birds of paradise, and these I added clay here. These are not, it's not a stamp. I just added a little bit of clay to go over. I like to layer the layered look. So this is relief carved. So you take away clay, then I add it. So it's a balance, right? So my mugs are not, it's still pretty lightweight, which I like. I don't like mugs that are real heavy. And again, this is porcelain frost and carved, added clay to make my birds of paradise here on the back. Relief carved. Oh, I wanted to show you something here. Since we're on this mug, I want to show you how well this works now that it's on leather hard. Look at this. Look how well look how well this writes. Now, this is a little bit drier, but I did all my design using this pencil, and it's not even sharp now, the lead. So I am gonna put the link. I am so excited about this. Only potters get excited about stuff like that. I mean, how nice is it to write that well on clay without leaving, marks or anything. So again, I will put the link for these pencils. I get just a small, very small percentage. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you guys use my links, it doesn't cost anything else extra for you. It just helps me a little bit. And again, all this money goes into teaching you, having my tutorials, sharing everything that I know with you guys. So I would appreciate if you use my links. And that's it for this demo. Let me know if you have any questions. I am going to show now another method of how to do maybe a slab, and I'll show you that. Let me just clean this up so I can show you. So I wanted to show you a different way now that you can also create your own stamp. And this would be good for, you can also make stamps like small as these, using these printing pads. They're kind of like a rubbery material. It's not like silicone because they're thicker and more sturdy. You would still need to use a little bit of starch, but not much, because it is a little porous, but definitely not as bad as silicone. So this is an example of the silicone I got just as an experiment for a hummingbird, and I hated it. I couldn't even use it. So I rather just design mine and make my own stamp. So see how soft it is? I mean, I know that not all of them are this soft. Some are better than others, but this was just horrible. Anyways, this material is thick. It's about a quarter of an inch thick, and it comes in different sizes, so in colors. So this one, I've had it for quite some time, and I'll show you how I carve into this. Some people carve on linoleum. I'm not sure if you guys heard of that. The backing of the linoleum is also this rubbery material, and you can carve, but it's thin. So I've never tried it. I know it can be done. I rather buy these pads and then create my own, what's going to be, use it for a slab of clay on top of this. They come in different colors, like this one. I think this is like 4 by 6 inches. And then there is a larger sheet that I also have. I don't have it here with me, but I believe it's like 8 by 11 or 8 by 12. It's a bigger, probably the size of this board right here. And would be great for you to roll the slab for a mug, for example. So I made this as a real simple design. It's just little vines with little leaves. And I created this cute little pot here that is for my tea bags. And if you guys want, one day I can show you how I actually make these. Then I just use the leaf, and I'll show you how I make the my lid. It's actually like this because I made a little 2 dots here because it is oval. It's not quite rounded. It's where I keep my tea. The tea bags are the round ones. But as you can see, I just rolled my slab in here to create this. Same thing on the back. And I just used the Celadon. I believe this one, because I've tried with 2 different types, and this was, I think was B-Mix, because it's that off-white color. It was either B-Mix Laguna or Little Loafers High Water Clay. Can't quite remember. It has that little off-white color. I can't quite remember what it was, but I used copper wash when it was bisque fired on bisque. I used the copper wash and then wiped it back, and then used my clear, Kitten's Clear. So now I remember, I mixed Kitten's Clear with a small amount of copper carbonate to make the Celadon. It's like a real light green color. And then on the design, I did the copper wash and wiped it back. So it creates the little shadows. And this one, I'm not sure if I can capture this on the video, the color difference. So it's the same copper wash, wipe that back with Kitten's Clear over it. But the difference is this one is porcelain. This one was a stoneware. Like I said, either B-Mix or Little Loafers. I think it was B-Mix. So not much of a difference, but it's just not as, this one is almost like a blue-green. Has a little bit more blue in it because the porcelain is brighter. And then this one is a more true green color. Just holding, making sure that it's not gonna move on me. And you see, I didn't put any cornstarch or anything, but I would suggest that, So here's the design. Comes out pretty clean, actually, even without cornstarch, but I would use it just in case. Anyways, that's one demo. I will be showing you fresh here how I'm going to go about making my design and carve into this piece, 4 by 6, I believe. And what I'm gonna use this stamp for is to create a little soap dish, rectangular, for myself. Materials that I'll be using to carve into this and do my design is graphite paper, tracing paper. I'll be tracing a drawing. For you guys that don't like to do it freehand, like I do, but in this case, it's perfectly okay to trace something. I do like to get inspirations from coloring books, and I'll show you 3 of my favorite coloring books that I have here that has a lot of birds and tropical plants and stuff. Also from Amazon. I believe everything that I'm using here was from Amazon. Let's see. So I marked the one that I'm gonna use here. This is my very favorite one, Tropical Birds. I'll put a link. These 2 I just got for Christmas, so I actually haven't used these yet. But these have great, let me just show you the front one. I believe it shows, yeah, the smaller designs they have all throughout the book, you know, designs of birds and tropical. I get a lot of my inspirations from here. It's a real good book. Anyways, like some of the bigger pictures. It's a real nice one. I really like it. And it's nice because you're going to end up with the lines exactly where you want to carve. So we'll be using this book here. These ones I also thought was very nice. It's got very pretty designs of birds. I love Kingfisher, is one of my favorites too. That's what we'll be doing, is a Kingfisher drawing. This hummingbird, another Kingfisher. That's a dove. That's, I don't know what that one is. Anyways, that's a real nice one. This one, I didn't know it was so big. The designs are very large. So, but on a large plate, I think would be just stunning if you wanted to paint some, you know, bird and flower design. Look at that parrot. But they're all very large. They cover the whole page too, so that would be more for a larger tray or plate or platter. Anyways, I will include the link for all these books. But like I said, my favorite is this one. And I marked the design because it seems to be just this right here. Seems to be just right for this size, for this 4x6. So I am going to be using my tracing paper. So what I did is I flipped to the other side so the graphite is touching the rubber. So this is another one of those rubber tools that has it comes with the stylus at the other end. So let me just test it here. See. Let's see if it is showing. Yeah, it's showing okay. So I don't need the graphite paper or carbon paper. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I might add, something coming down. Oops. Maybe another one here. Something like that to complete the design. So now, using this tool, I am gonna probably speed up the video to show all the carving so the video is not so extra long. And the way you want to do it is, it goes in really easy on the rubber material. So once you get close to the end, you just kind of go in up to finish the line. Then you can go a little deeper if you want to. It's better if you go like all at once. There. I just added a little bit of design here because it on the drawing it was cut off, so I just finished that. Now for the lines, you know how it has some lines in between here. So now I'm gonna use the fine tip just to make the little lines inside of the design. So here's the design that I just finished. And now I'm going to roll a slab here. And hopefully I'll make my little soap dish. Brushed it lightly with cornstarch. I may not even need it, but I did it anyways, just in case. And I have a slab of clay. And I'm using the speckled dark star from Kentucky Mud Works. It's a little bit on the wet side, but I'm going to use it anyways. Let me see if this is a smooth side. Yeah. I'm just going to roll and then I'm going to cut it. So here's the design in relief. So it worked out pretty well. Again, I think I would wait until it's a little bit drier than at this stage that I that I have here, but I think it worked out just fine. So now I'm just gonna cut the edges here. And what I'm gonna do here is just score and put a coil around just to look a little bit more finished around the rectangle. I'm not even gonna use slip because it's still pretty wet, the clay. And then once it dries a little bit more on this side, I'll flip it and try to use that rubber tool on the other side. I'm just gonna wet my coil. Let's see. By this edge being higher, it's just so that I can put the soap here, use this as a soap dish and the water won't run out. But it will go into the grooves. That's my idea here. That's why I'm gonna do the grooves more inside the edges here. And that will be the purpose of that. And that's the end result. So here's another thing that you can do to make your own stamps. I bought these wooden pieces at Michael's, the craft store, Michael's. And these are real thin wooden pieces that I don't know what they're for, but immediately I thought about making stamps out of these. And I have all these, so I think that it comes as a set, different butterflies, and you can do the same thing, but with these, all you have to do is push it into the clay and that will become your stamp. So you don't even have to do anything else. And then you just need to bisque. So I'm just going to, like with this dolphin, I'm just gonna press it. I think they're cut with like a laser printer or something similar. See, so that will become my stamp. So that's a seahorse. I'm gonna try to do just 2 on this one. I'm just holding it so that it won't just pop out. Make sure it's really in there, because it's got like all these intricate cuts. So that becomes your stamp. So as you can see, there are so many things you can make your own stamps with, but this is a really cute one too. Dragonfly. There's two different. These the same? Oh, these are the same, but I think I have a different type here too. Another different owl. So anyways, there are different designs. There's a hummingbird. Very cute. And that's all. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.